Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Friday. It is Friday. We're here with Aloha Oracle Friday. I'm excited. Just let me fix the camera just a little bit. There we go. Yeah. So I have the Keepers of the Light deck, the Healing with the Fairies deck, the Enchanted Unicorn Oracle deck. And just if you're on live, feel free to just pop in and ask a question, and we'll see what we can get, right? Because you never know. But anyways, I have the Oracle Guidelines first. And for anybody that might be new to this and wondering, why are you reading your guidelines? It's because I tend to ramble. So if I don't read them, we'll be here all day. So let's see. Number 1, do not worry where the message is coming from. I only work from a good place. So if you're seeing this, there's a reason you are here. Number 2, do not make a card fit your question if it does not resonate with you. Forcing an outcome or an answer not meant for you can cause unnecessary stress and overthinking. Number 3, I will give you the message I receive and the message from the book because someone took the time to write it and put it together. So there you go. Those are my guidelines. So let's get rolling. We'll start with the Angel Answers deck. Woo-hoo. So, this is one of the only decks where I rarely read the book on, just because this is more of like, let's get rolling while I wait for people to come on and pop on. Because I know sometimes when it's on Facebook Live, it can take forever to find it or whatnot. So, let's see here. What do we got? Oh, looks like nothing wants to come out. All right. Let's calm the energy. Deep breaths for a good reading. Archangel Gabriel. There's one. Please help me. I usually try to like to go for about 3, 4, or 5. Oh. I think that's 4. Alright, let's see if we can get one more. Alright, there we go. The minute I reached out to my Archangel, poof, all the cards decided to start coming out. Alright, so, of course, as per usual, my head has been draining the last couple of days because we've been having what they call Santa Anas out here, or Santanas, the heavy hot winds. But, so of course, now I'm draining. But of course, it doesn't happen, right? When I first, before I come on this show, nothing wants to drain until I hit play. And then all of a sudden, it's like a faucet coming out of my face. So, number 1, within the next few weeks. So I don't know what it is that you're hoping for, waiting for, wishing for, manifesting, praying for, all those things. I'm sorry. I don't know what is happening with my hair here, but something is reflecting and is driving me nuts. It's just my hair. So, but whatever it is, it's going to happen within the next few weeks. So, all right. Again, this is one of those things that if you're trying to make something happen, I'm going to say this at the beginning, okay? If you're trying to manifest, pray, set an intention, always finish it. If you're praying, amen. But before you say amen, this or something better. Okay? When you're manifesting or setting an intention, this or something better, thank you. Because you may be asking for something that's not meant for you, but you're trying to force it. And trying to force it means it's just going to take longer because they're going to have to figure out how to let you know, hey, sorry, this isn't meant for you, but we're going to wait for you to realize that, maybe something else is meant for you. Now, that doesn't mean, oh my gosh, is she trying to say something to me right now? No. All I'm saying is that sometimes we try to force something that's not meant for us and we just kind of upend ourselves and we make ourselves crazy. So when you sit there and you finish your intention, prayer, or manifestation with this or something better, amen, or thank you, or both. If you're manifesting or setting an intention, or even with prayer, amen, thank you. Just remember this or something better, because then you give your deity, you give whoever you turn your higher power to, your angels, your guides, you give them this nice big wiggle room, all right? So whatever it is that you are waiting for, when you trust and when you believe, it should be happening in the next few weeks. Ask your angels. Ask them what the hell is taking so long. Dude, what's taking so long? It's okay to ask. You know, sometimes we put all these, you know, guides and deities and everything. We put them on this super high pedestal. But what they're meant to do is walk with us. They're meant to guide us. They're meant to show us the way. They're not meant to be, you know, like, oh my God, you're so amazing and I'm afraid to piss you off. It's okay to ask. Don't be an asshole when you ask, but just ask. You know, just, you know, excuse my language, but this is me. Okay, this is Friday, Oracle Friday. This is my thing. And but yeah, we don't have to be angry or mean or belligerent about it. Sometimes I know it might get away from us, right? We might get away from ourselves and be like, oh my God, what is happening? But when you reel yourself back in, just say, please, I would like some answers because I'm so confused on why I've been told this is going to happen and this hasn't. And hopefully, and look for the signs, listen for the messages. Here's one of the things I've noticed about people, that we tend to, you know, mistake, you know, we see it like, or we hear it like the movies, right? And we think about movies and, you know, these movies that really kind of paint ghosts in a not fair light. And, you know, not all of them are wrong. Some of them are pretty gnarly, you know, but for the most part, our guides and the spirits, and sometimes just these wandering spirits that just like to peek in sometimes, get kind of a bad rap. But one of the things we can do is just ask, but listen. Okay, and what I'm really trying to say here is that sometimes we're listening for that audible voice, for that, you know, something that we can hear like as if somebody else is talking to us. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes it just happens telepathically where we have these conversations and we hear them in our head. So, you know, when they say it's all in your head, sometimes it is. All right. And no, I'm not crazy. And I know that there's people out there, there's skeptics out there, and that's okay. You know, everybody's allowed to believe what they want to believe. It's okay. We're not here to force people to believe what we believe. We're here to live our best life. We're here to, you know, guide in the best way that we can. You know, if people fall into, you know, kind of roll into that feeling and say, hey, okay, you know, I get it now. You know, in my perspective, God coexists with all these things. But as many of you know, I'm a polytheist. So there's more than one deity at my table. But again, God is like he's like my Linus blanket, you know, or Snoopy's house. It's just, it's comfortable for me. And yes, I do actually believe, and I believe in a lot more. When I get to the Keeper of the Light, this is one of my favorite decks. But the problem with this deck and some people is that they will sit there and go, well, they don't always jive together. They don't always sit together. And they don't get along. But that's not true. There are like hundreds and hundreds of different deities that people turn to, that worship. And, you know, they're good people. They're people who believe in one thing. They're, you know, it was interesting. I had a dream last night where somebody was sitting, yeah, they're all prophets. They're all prophets. And, or maybe that was older sibling and I talking. I don't remember. But it felt very real in a dream too. So, but anyways, I know this isn't in everybody's wheelhouse and I don't mean to go off on this little side adventure here, but don't be afraid to ask your angels. Okay, don't be afraid to ask your spirit guides. If you are wondering what is taking so long, ask them. And remember, tell them their time over there is very different. Everything moves much slower over there. It may not seem like it here, or I mean, it may not seem like it moves slower there, but the time is different there on the other side of the veil, in that other dimension. But here, this is just our time. So say, you know what, in my time. Can, you know, tell me how long in my time. And you may get an answer and you may not. If you don't get an answer, maybe it's because you still have lessons to learn. And those can be hard. So, big happy changes. So see, within a few weeks, ask your angels and who knows, they might tell you, hey, so-and-so, you're going to have your big happy changes. Sometimes big happy changes and things happening within a few weeks require forgiveness. Now, forgiving doesn't mean you have to let somebody back into your life. But I know a lot of people say, well, forgiveness is, I don't have to forgive anybody if I don't want you. No, you don't. You don't. But sometimes we hold ourselves responsible for, letting people misguide us, letting people mislead us. That's not our fault. Some people are just really, really sociopathic and good at it. So just forgive yourself for maybe falling into that trap, for being baited or hoping for better from somebody. I have found in my own experience that forgiveness it did set me free. It did set me free because I wasn't holding on to that anger anymore. And it's okay to, if something is making you mad, it's okay to have that anger. Just try not to sit in it. Try not to, just let it grow in you, because sometimes that can turn into a bad thing. Figure out how to move through it and move through to the other side. Okay, just try to figure that out. I know it can be hard. I know it can be scary. And sometimes, you're letting go of something that you're not sure you're ready to let go of yet. You're seeing things in a whole different light, in a whole different way. So, be kind to yourself. Forgiveness can be an amazing thing. In fact, I'm being guided to read the thing on forgiveness. So I think it's a good thing. Forgiveness can work miracles. When you release the past, a weight is lifted from your shoulders and a sense of freedom washes over you. Ask your angels to help, or your higher powers, whoever. Ask your guides to help you let go of sadness or pain caused by others so that you can be free. This card can also refer to a need for self-forgiveness. It's time to let go of any guilt you are holding onto regarding past mistakes you may have made. Give yourself credit for having tried your best, even if the results weren't what you would have liked. Focus on the changes you've made since then that have made you a better person. So I really like that. I think that's something that we should really, really kind of zero in and focus on. And here we go. Trust. Trust, trust, trust. So when you are asking, let's put it this way. I'm going to change these around a little bit. We're gonna make this into something that makes sense, okay? So, here we go. Ask your angels, if you need to, find forgiveness in whatever situation that you need to forgive, so that your big happy changes can come within the next few weeks. As long as you find a way to trust. Trust. Trust is the big one, right? Trust is huge. Last night I was called to make an oath to myself to stop living in fear and to start trusting my path. To start trusting the path that I'm on, and, stop, just really stop living in that fear. Stop giving my power to fear. To go in love, light, trust, healing. I have amazing healing hands. There's always energy flying through my hands, which is crazy. But, to some, but for me, it's just normal. It's always how they've been. So, let's move on to healing with the fairies. Since the forgiveness card came up today, I think this is going to be a great deck. I also have the enchanted unicorn, because I love the enchanted unicorn. And I think it's time for Cupcake to go back into the deck. I know. She's sitting over there just in all her glory. All her cupcake glory. So, let me see. In fact, I can't focus until I take her down. This is Cupcake. Isn't she cute? She's so cute. I love her. It's one of my favorite cards. That one and the Blossom card. I love the Blossom card. See if we can manifest that one today, the Blossom card. So anyways, all right, let's see. Come on, fairies, what you got for us? There we go. Wow. I guess all I had to do was ask. I had one in particular in my head. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's see. All right, number 1, make music. Make music. Whether you like to listen to music, or whether you like to play music, or if you want to learn music, make music. Make music. But making music is a lot more than just, turning on a radio or listening. Like I said, maybe you want to learn how to play an instrument. I grew up playing the violin. I did walk away from it, sadly, because I'm not gonna lie, I was actually very good for how quickly I learned all these things. But you know, sometimes when you're a kid, your priorities get all stupid, and it happens. But excuse me as I slurp. Anyways, oh, I'd like to thank older sibling for my coffee and putting it in one of my favorite mugs. That's right, that's the TARDIS. So, anyways, actually, what it does is when it disappears here, it reappears here. But my coffee's cooling down now, so oh well. But anyways, making music. I know a lot of people that when they get all up in their head or life starts to go a little skewed and askew, they'll turn to music. Music is one of my favorite things to listen to when I'm just, whether I'm writing or if I'm in a bad place. Sometimes when I'm in a really bad place, I'll just put on the hardest music I know. And believe it or not, that actually calms me down. I know, I can't explain it. Been that way since I was a teenager. It just, for some reason, it's just like, it's almost like my brain is attaching itself to it, saying, okay, I have permission to be angry right now, and this music is angrier than I am. And so suddenly I just like, it reminds me to take a breath. I mean, I literally have a playlist that, you know, feeling angsty or feeling irritated or whatever it is, that's just like boom, 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 you know, it's the hard stuff. But there's all kinds of different things. There's binaural beats that you can find on YouTube. Some people will charge you for it if you pick an app or if you use your Echo or, you know, whatever fancy talking device that you have. I know there's different ones, like I think Apple has the iThing or whatever, you know, that you can talk to. But whatever one that you reach into and you put into your home, sometimes they'll play music, sometimes they'll charge you too. But that's why I like YouTube, because YouTube is literally, there's binaural beats everywhere. And yeah, there's people who advertise for themselves in there that do create these things. But there's all sorts in there. There's also apps that have frequencies. And sometimes you just want to listen to the frequency, like 432 or 555 or, you know, 287. You know, there's different frequencies for everything that we go through. And I know that might be stepping out of the, you know, into a different wheelhouse for some people, but the energy that comes through, it feeds your brain. And sometimes your brain needs that break. And that's what I love about music, is sometimes music can draw us away from what's hurting us and what we're thinking about, or maybe it can push us towards what we need to heal. Sometimes we'll listen to music, right, when we get that completely emo feeling, where all of a sudden we're a teenager again going, oh my God, my life is over. You know, sometimes it feels that way, even as an adult. Okay, but it's how we deal with it. So, make music. Let's see what they have to say about that. Express yourself with music. The fairies urge you to sing, play a musical instrument, tap your fingers, or crank up the stereo. I forgot about singing. Sometimes I have concerts in my room, you know, that benefit all the pillows on my bed and all the little figurines back here. They're the only ones that get to come to the concert. Sometimes outside people across the hallway will hear me singing, but yeah, that actually helps me too. I know that when I'm feeling better, I sing. When I'm not feeling good, I try to sing, and it kind of helps me actually gauge where my brain is, because I sing when I'm happy. So music lifts the soul to new heights. It alters your mood and your outlook. The fairies play music at their celebrations because they know its therapeutic value. By drawing this card, you were guided to surround yourself with music. Any type of music that will stir your soul is appropriate. The fairies are especially fond of joyful, fast-paced music because it stimulates a festive mood. Now, for people that aren't into fairies, think of them as nature angels. Okay, because that's how some people actually describe them, as nature angels. All right, play music yourself or have music playing around you for the next few days and notice how your mood and energy levels elevate. You may find that you were drawn to new types of music or to a genre of music that you enjoyed a long time ago. Make note of any songs that you repeatedly hear on the radio or in your mind. The lyrics or the memories evoked by the song could contain a message for you that will answer a particular question you may have. The affirmation for this card is, deep within my soul, I now accept and experience the healing power of music. We could listen to the same song over and over and over again until we're tired of it, right? And then maybe you're going through something several months later and this song just happens to pop up in your playlist. Maybe you forgot it was there. And because I know from experience of my own playlist, I have a lot of songs in there, and sometimes it just rotates through the same ones. And then it's like, oh yeah, I forgot this song was in my playlist because it never plays. But sometimes I think it's because it's almost like it's saving itself for that moment. So that when it hits you between the eyes and you realize, oh yes, there's the message. We can get messages from anywhere. We can get them, just maybe you're standing outside and the breeze blows and you're like, oh yeah. Something might click inside of your head. Or, from maybe we're watching television, the same show. We talked about this the other day. How sometimes you watch a show and there's the message. And you're like, whoa, I've seen this episode a million times and now this time this message is actually hitting me. But who knows how many people it's hit before you and how many people it will hit after you. Same with movies. Sometimes we'll be sitting there and go, oh, okay. Okay, and it doesn't matter what kind of movie. It doesn't need to be a movie that has a message that's actually in your face and saying, this is the message of this movie. Sometimes it's little things that we might catch that other people don't catch. And that's the same with music. We can listen to a million different things. But sometimes that song that comes up, it might be that one moment where it really, really kind of hits us and we're like, okay, I see your point. So, make your music. Right. Number 2, visualization. Visualization is amazing. So visualization is, like a vision board or, sorry, I have to cover certain things because if I don't, YouTube will freak out and probably, yank my video for being inappropriate, which is dumb because it's art. But anyways, and I do post these thereafter, so in order to not get dinged, there's certain things I'm going to have to cover up. I know. But anyways, visualization, like a vision board. Or, I believe the book is by Shakti Gawain. And it's about like the pink bubble visualization. It's basically all the different artful ways of visualizing. And visualization is basically how a lot of people will pray or set intentions or manifest. Okay, and when we do that, when we're doing these manifestations, a lot of times it's very good to visualize. I have a vision board right behind me that is basically telling me to just, be, what's the word I'm looking for? To be open, to be positive, to remind yourself who you are, what your purpose is here. And if you haven't found your purpose, to just keep living your life. Maybe living your life and doing everything the way you're doing is your purpose. But sometimes we put this big old grand marquee sign around the word purpose and we're like, oh God, this isn't what it could be because it doesn't seem that great, but you don't know that. All the people you touch would say, whoa, this is your purpose. You're kind, you're smart, you've healed my soul by listening. Sometimes that is, oh, there it is. Creative visualization. Thank you, older sibling. So creative visualization can be very, very amazing. Okay. And, again, you can do a vision board. You can do what they call the pink bubble. And the pink bubble is where, I believe that was Shakti Gawain. And that's what older siblings talk about, the creative visualization. You think of what you want, and then you put it in a pink bubble, and then you basically let it go. Like a balloon. Right? But what's interesting about that is, remember, this or something better. We can always want something, but if it's not meant for us, it just slows down the process. So when you say this or something better, you're saying, okay, it's not that they're not going to give you what is meant to be yours. That's exactly what they're trying to do, is give you what's exactly meant to be yours. But it may not be what you're asking for. So, when you say this or something better, you're leaving it wide open and saying, okay, I see you, I hear you, let's do this. So, but creative visualization can be interesting. And, again, I'm looking at my thing back here. And I talked about this the other day when we were talking about, what we see is what we hear, or what we say is what we hear, and what we end up seeing, because it's what our brain processes. So all these things that are behind the camera are basically reminding me to be confident, to be positive, to remind myself that if I choose to be, I can be unlimited. And that's kind of what I was going through last night. I was stepping into my power. I had to make a choice. I couldn't keep teetering between both of those worlds of not trusting and trusting completely. And trusting completely doesn't mean that, you let anybody into your life. Trusting completely means I'm trusting myself completely. I'm trusting my path completely. That I understand that whether good things or bad things happen, that is what's meant to bring the lesson to us. So, creative visualization can be a very, very wonderful thing. Let's see, visualization. Your clairvoyance, your dreams, and the pictures in your mind's eye are becoming more clear and powerful. This card asks you to trust and to develop your visual skills and to use them in conscious manifestation. So a lot of people might be saying, but I don't have clairvoyance. I'm not this, I'm not that. You never know. I would never have known half the gifts I have now if it wasn't for older sibling. They were very stifled when I was growing up because it wasn't cool. It was bad. It was evil. And it's not. These are amazing gifts that my creator gave me. And I'm very grateful for them. I'm very blessed. And, like I said, I'm extremely grateful. I don't know a lot of people that have healing hands. People will sit there and laugh, oh yeah, healing hands. But you know what? It's interesting what happens with my hands. I mean, I have some stories that would probably, make your hair curl. Because I was like, whoa, no way. Really? And these are people that were basically building me up and confirming what I was saying because they believed in my gifts. So I'm asking you to believe in yours. Other people may poo-poo them. Other people may say, yeah, whatever, you're crazy, you're stupid, you're whatever. Don't listen to them. If you have a gift, use it. Don't worry about what other people say. I have a thing that I do, and I've had a couple clients in my Ho'oponopono, and both of them know how to use it, but both of them didn't have confidence in themselves. And while I know a lot of people will sit there and not share these things because they want a repeat client, my goal for my clients is to teach them how to move on and trust themselves. Is that good for the financial bottom line? No. Is it good for my soul? Absolutely. Absolutely, because that's priceless. Teaching people to have confidence in their gifts and in themselves and showing them how to move forward in using these things is what will help them in their life. And that to me is priceless. That to me is everything, because that's what I want for them, because that's what was given to me. Somebody teaching me how to trust my gifts. So, the fairies know the power of conscious visualization as a tool of manifestation. By drawing this card, you are guided to sit quietly on a daily basis and to visualize yourself living a healthy, happy, abundant, and meaningful life. Visualize only what you desire and avoid picturing that which you do not desire. You have powerful visual skills even if you're unaware of them. Affirm daily, I am a highly visual person. Any blocks that you have about clairvoyance will begin to lift. Know that it is safe for you to see the future, the spirit world, and the truth about your life. By releasing any fears about seeing, your visualization powers will be greatly magnified. So the affirmation, it is safe for me to see. I am a very visual person. It can be scary, but trust it. Oh, see, look at that. Trust your intuition. Trust your intuition. What more can I say about that? We literally just covered that in the first two cards, right? We had make music, and we had visualization. And with visualization especially, trust your intuition. The hardest thing to do for many people, including myself, is to trust. Maybe something's broken your trust. Maybe you've been through things that, kind of shaken your trust and makes it very hard for you to trust. But in my experience and in my perspective, I have found that when we're asking for trust, it's to trust ourselves, to trust that inner being inside of us, to trust the outer being of us, To say, you know what? Okay, I trust that I will make the right decisions. I trust that if I don't make a right decision, that I will figure out how to make it better. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. It happens. Again, it happens. We're not perfect. We're perfectly imperfect. And I think that's the best way to be. And that doesn't mean I don't want you to strive to be your best self, but sometimes when we shoot for excuse me. Sometimes when we shoot for perfection, we're going to miss the target, because once we get to that place that we thought would be our perfect place, all of a sudden we think there's more. So just live that life. Aim. Aim at something. When you reach that target, keep moving forward. To me, perfection is a myth. And maybe it's not to other people. I mean, you may have a piece of music that you think is perfect. You may have a piece of art that you think is perfect, or a picture that you've taken that is perfect. And that is absolutely normal, and that is wonderful. And that is great. What I'm talking about is where we try to make ourselves be. When we aim to be this perfect person, and then maybe we trip over a situation, and all of a sudden we beat ourselves up. Because, well, I shouldn't have acted that way. I try to be perfect. I try to be this. I try to be that. We put so many hard expectations on ourselves that we end up hurting ourselves more than we end up helping ourselves. So, for me, I think the best way to go is, yeah, it's okay to aim for perfection on certain projects and this, that, or the other. But when it comes to us personally, give yourself some grace. Give yourself some kindness. Trust your intuition. Trust your intuition. That's what I'm learning how to do. And it's not easy, but it's doable. And the more we practice it, the easier it becomes. So, trust your intuition. Let's see here. It is safe for you to follow your heart's guidance. You know deep down what to do. This card asks you to trust and to follow this inner intelligence. Your spidey instincts will always guide you in the right direction. You just have to learn how to listen to it. Has your inner guidance been trying to get your attention lately? Perhaps a gut feeling is tugging at you like a seeing eye dog. An inner voice has been screaming at you, or you've had dreams charged with profound emotions and symbolism lately. By drawing this card, you're being urged to pay careful attention to these various forms of intuition. Now is not the time to ignore these messages or procrastinate. Trust this inner wisdom just as you would if it came from a respected teacher. Know that you aren't imagining the guidance. Its powerful and repetitive voice is a sign that you are truly getting clear and trustworthy messages that are worth following. Affirmation. I trust and follow my feelings and thoughts without question or delay. I trust and follow my feelings and thoughts without question or delay. Sometimes when we listen to our instincts, we save ourselves a lot of time. Because we'll say, it's like getting a map, right? And you know the direction, but you think, yeah, I'm going to go this way instead. See what happens. Right? And what's going to happen? You're going to end up making a U-turn and coming back because there's probably a dead end over that way. That's why you were heading this way. But we do that to ourselves a lot. We start to not trust the path. We start to not trust what is, right there in front of us in bold lettering saying this way or this way. And then you choose to do the opposite. Because we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust our instincts. We don't trust, our intuition. When we learn how to trust our intuition, the whole world will just open up for you. Okay? Because you are going to start seeing that things are going to come a little bit easier because you're not fighting it all the time. Fighting your intuition is just a waste of time. You're just going to come back to where you were supposed to be to begin with. So you can take the choice or make the choice. You can go the hard way and the long way, or you can go the route that your instincts keep telling you to do. So in other words, you could be me and spend years going in the wrong direction, or you can listen to your instincts and just end up where you were meant to end up anyway. But I will say this for my journey. I think my journey was intended to be this way so that I can use it as an example for other people to do not do what Shelley did. All right, let's see. Come on, unicorns. What you got for us? What you got? Wow. Oh, good. I was afraid that was going to fly right off my desk. All right, is there anything else? Nothing? Whoops. we're not doing all of those, but guess which one popped out? The Blossom card! I love that one. All right, I think that one was trying to come out. See, I manifested it. You're probably thinking, yeah. It fell out with 3 other cards. Okay, the 3 other cards were Intergalactic, in the zone, baby, in the manifestation zone. And the other one was Brilliant New Ideas and Invention. Brilliant New Ideas. So, but those are not the cards we're going with. However, I think they validate the Blossom card, which, by the way, is going to be staying out for the week. I know. I mean, look at that face, right? Look at that face. It's like, yeah, let's go have fun. Oh my gosh, we got this one last week, 1967. Break your routine. Break your routine. So again, somebody's sitting here saying, hey, you know what? You're supposed to be going this way, or you're supposed to be going this way, so stop fighting it. Break your routine. Break your routine. And then, of course, there's Blossom, the start of a fantastic new journey. The start of a fantastic new journey. Actually, what's interesting is, I think this card would have come up anyways, because it's validation. It's validation for a lot of people's journeys. But let's start with 1967. Now, because it is Oracle Friday, I also read the, there are divinations for these. The unicorn magic. Unicorn magic. So, 1967, Break Your Routine. It's the red Gerbera. Ooh, I know. She's fancy, or he's fancy. They're fancy. The happy-go-lucky Gerbera's generous red velvety petals lift the spirits and add a pop of color to any room. On a metaphysical level, Gerberas represent happiness, celebrations, and parties. Both the red and orange Gerberas offer emotional healing in times of sadness and cynicism. So the divination. This card takes us back to the heady days of the late 1960s, kicked off by the Summer of Love in 1967 and culminating in the iconic Woodstock Music Festival of 1969. Music, right? Make music. Between these 2 years, many in the Western world began to break free from convention and stuffy societal rules. It was a movement started by young adults who questioned the status quo and sought freedom of expression. They challenged outdated ideas and attitudes by growing their hair long, wearing outrageous fashions, and experimenting with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They rebelled against authority. It was an intoxicating time that didn't last, but it did lay the groundwork for new and exciting ways of looking at life, and encouraged a more open-minded, less restrictive society. Individuality and self-expression are now openly supported in most Western countries. Protests can bring about real and lasting change, and people in the Western world are free to find their own form of spirituality without having to kowtow to old-fashioned conventions. The 1967 unicorn appears when life has been dull and routine. It encourages you to try something different and bring a blast of fresh energy into your daily life. Explore an idea that seems outrageous to you, but that you've always wanted to try. You need to pick yourself up out of the daily grind and see life from a different perspective, one that helps you break free from the herd. So what I was thinking, we had this card last week, which means that a lot of us are probably still stuck in our routine and not making any movements to change that routine. Just sitting around doing whatever it is we do, right? Or just, wake up, do whatever you do, come home. Everybody has a routine. But sometimes we need to put a kink in that routine and change it a little bit. So I feel like this card also came up because I have not really done anything to change my routine. But what I really kind of thought about is, exactly what this card says. And it didn't hit me last week like it's hitting me this week. Where it said they rebelled against authority. Now, I'm not saying go out there and rebel against authority. Do what makes you comfortable. There are people who protest. There are people who do not. There are people who balk against certain, things, and people who literally just think they're stupid and try to shut them down. So everybody has their own way of thinking. There's this way of thinking. There's that way of thinking. There's, and somewhere in the middle is everybody else, right? But when I think about what would basically be the hippie culture, the flower children culture, okay? They're not saying it in here, but we know what it is. And it was kind of like a 60s revolution of sorts that I really think kind of started with in the 50s, right, with the beatniks. People just kind of testing their limits, testing society's limits, pushing through, like the door saying, break on through to the other side, right? But that's just it. We look at this period and people say, yeah, they're a bunch of hippies or a bunch of this or a bunch of that. But without them, would we have the line of thinking that we have now? Without that movement, would we feel free to do some of the things we do? Or will we still be stuck in that, confinement of a certain way of thinking, a certain way of living? Where, people had to stay in relationships that didn't benefit them, that were terrible, that were horrible, maybe even abusive, and just live in resentment because, society said you had to. Or women that maybe were afraid to have careers because society told them they couldn't. This whole movement, it opened a mindset. And not everybody agrees with it, but I will tell you this, everybody benefits from it. And I don't think I realized that till now, how much we all really benefit from this. And some people may say, oh, it's sinful, it's this, it's that, it's not God's way. But, how do we know God didn't make that happen, right? Everybody wants to say, this is this way, this is that way. Everybody wants a certain thing to point their direction on how God thinks. We don't know how God thinks, no more than we know how the next person thinks. What we know is what other people's interpretations of his thinking or her thinking is, their thinking is, of any deity that we turn our thoughts to. But what's the one thing they want for all of us? No matter who you place at your table or you turn your, higher power attentions towards, they want us to be kind to one another. They want us to be good to one another. Sure. I mean, I think the sole difference between a hippie and a flower child was one was just more into the Zen thing. The others were more into the protesting. And while also doing the Zen thing. So and trust me, this comes from people I know that were flower children, that were hippies, that did have, this movement happened before I was born. By the time I was born, they were all becoming yuppies. So the hippies and the flower children were a dying breed by the time I was born. But I know people who lived through this movement, who lived through this era. I know people who found themselves in this, who just shed the shackles of societal, things. And I think we owe something to them. People will sit there and go, you're out of your mind, you're off your rocker. But I do. I think we owe a big thank you to the hippies and to the flower children. I would say more so the flower children. Some of the people that came back from a very unpopular war were treated horribly. 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 My father did fight in that war, or was in that war. But a lot of them, were treated horribly. And they shouldn't have been. You have people here saying, yeah, they're just pawns in the government's war and blah, 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 but then they treat them horribly when they come back. So I think what I'm saying is that when it really comes to the flower children, and, the whole movement, the hippie movement, the flower children movement, we need to thank them for helping us break those shackles, from freeing us from societal norms. We still get trapped in those things. We still get stuck in those things. I mean, for me, 1967 was a huge year because that's the year my parents got married. And like I said, it took me a while to come along, about 5 or 6 years before I came along. But, I think we miss that. People who were treated poorly when they came back will say, oh, those hippies, those effing hippies, those, flower children. Or I remember we were at Disneyland, and actually the flower child I know is older sibling. I remember one time we were at Disneyland, and older sibling is very, very, she's one of the kindest people I know. If she gets mad, that means you pushed a button that's so hidden inside of her. That's like that's like, trying to set off nuclear bombs with one person, right? I mean, you need 2 people to turn those keys, right? So if you push that button, look out, because you deserve it. Because she is kind. And I remember one day we were at Disneyland and she was wearing her tie-dye shirt. And funny enough, the tie-dye shirt that she was wearing, if anybody would have looked closely, it had a lighthouse on it and was from Nova Scotia. She's just a 60s baby. You know, she grew up in the 60s. That's her era. You know, a lot happened. It's fun to pick her brain when it comes to history. But she went over, because she saw a gentleman wearing a Vietnam veteran hat. She went over to shake his hand and thank him for his service. Because she knew how poorly they were treated when they came back. And we'll do it to, anybody wearing a veteran hat. But she specifically wanted to make it a point. And boy, I tell you, he was really nice. She said, I just want to thank you for your service. But before she could even say anything, his wife was just like, Row. She was basically attacking older sibling. Going, well, what do you want? What do you have to say to him? And it's because she was protective of him, because she remembers how poorly they were treated. So one of the things we can learn from this is, yes, we were released from those shackles of societal norms of that era, but we still have a lot of work to do when it comes to being kind to one another. We still have a lot of work to do when it comes to being nice to one another. And not just jumping off the handle. It's like, if you want to attack somebody, wait until you hear what they have to say. Because the woman probably felt really stupid when she heard siblings say, I just wanted to thank him for his service. And she didn't really say anything after that. He was like, thank you so much. I appreciate that. But it doesn't take a lot to have human decency. So we should be grateful that that movement, that hippie culture, that flower children culture really kind of did break us from the norm. It broke open a whole new thing. It gave us a whole new way of being able to see the world and to live in it without having to feel like society is going to tear us down for it. Society still may try to tear you down for it, but one of the best things we learned from that is, I don't fucking care what people think about me. When they talk about they challenged outdated ideas and attitudes by growing their hair long, wearing outrageous fashions, and experimenting with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Be careful with the drugs, and be careful with the sex. Practice safe sex, okay? That's all I'm saying. That's my PSA. That's Shelly's PSA, Shelly's public service announcement. Be careful with the sex and the drugs. Be responsible. That includes the alcohol. Do these things responsibly. Okay? Sex responsibly, drink and whatever, partake responsibly. I don't advise drugs. I really don't. I know some people will partake in it, and that's okay. I'm not gonna lie. For every so now and then, there might be an edible that comes my way. It really helps my anxiety. But when it comes to those things, just be responsible. Be an adult. Alright, be responsible. But live your life to your fullest. That's what this movement was about. It was trying to free us from all these rules and all of these, things that don't necessarily pertain to us. Forcing us to be into situations and stay in situations that aren't benefiting us and hurt us in a lot of ways. We're looking at people when we watch these things that really kind of elevated to a form of Zen that a lot of us will never experience. Just being out there and being free and being, not worrying about what society thinks about them. And to me, that's the biggest takeaway. What other people think of you is none of your business. A lot of people thought different things about them. They didn't care. They're like, I don't care. This is me. I'm enjoying my life. And yeah, there were some bad things that came out of that movement, like, the Manson family. But, there's always someone who's going to take something great and turn it shitty. So, just be kind, be loving, be open to ideas, and to other, just don't judge other people. It's as simple as that. All right. So the unicorn magic for that. Sorry for my soapbox moment there. Ask the unicorns to give you the courage to try something new and exhilarating. Go to a music festival, join in a protest rally, or book a holiday to an exotic place. Undertake a spiritual retreat, or enjoy an impromptu long weekend. Learn how to skipper a boat or skydive from an airplane. That's never happening in my life. Party late at a popular nightclub, or get up early to watch the sunrise. Wear something you wouldn't normally dream of wearing or dramatically change your hairstyle. Do whatever you need to do to feel alive again. Okay? Honor yourself. You know, there are going to be a lot of people in this world who say, well, that's not right. You shouldn't be doing that. And you're going to be like, yeah, you're probably right. If you want to do it, do it. I will give you a small example. 7 years ago, I went to London. Okay, and it really was the first trip I've ever taken by myself. And yes, like I mentioned, I have friends that lived in California that now live in England. And one of them came to the airport to help me get acclimated the first day I was there. So I was very grateful for that. But there was something I found about myself. I found that, oh, look, I can do all these things. Excuse me, I can do all these things by myself. I was 43 years old, for God's sakes. But every trip I've ever taken has always been with parents, friends, siblings, or the sisters, the soul sisters. So, you know, it also gave me the courage to drive across the desert to visit baby sibling by myself, which isn't always fun. That's like 7 hours of loneliness, but, you know, that's, thank God for phones. But the point is that everybody was telling me, can't you just go somewhere closer? Why do you have to go so far? Do you really think you should be doing that? Everybody was encouraging about my trip, but also worried about my trip. A lot of people were really kind of unintentionally discouraging me from going. But I didn't care. I knew it was something I had to do for myself. I knew it was something I needed. It was a growth and a catapult that was so important to my healing journey that I probably didn't realize until recent years that it was. But it showed me something about myself that I didn't know existed. Because I always listened to the societal norms. I always tried to fall in line with, you know, I mean, I've always dressed differently. I've always kind of walked to the beat of my own drum. But that always seemed to be the only envelope I would push. And even then, sometimes when I would get teased, I would just be like, well, okay. And then I realized I really don't fall into any kind of fashion statement. I just wear what makes me happy. You know, one day it could be bright colors, the next day it could be wearing all black for the next 5 days. And not because of any mood, but just because, yeah, it's my favorite thing. Pair it with cute tights and a pair of Doc Martens and you're ready to go. But I used to let people affect my thinking in that. And I've learned over this time, especially by going to London and saying, you know what, you guys, I don't care what you say, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I did my recon, I did all my studying, I asked questions of people that had lived there once, that I worked with and had been there. And, you know, I didn't set myself up for failure, but I set myself up for an adventure. And while I appreciate the concern, I think sometimes we just need to let people live their life. All right, so number 29, blossom, the start of a fantastic new journey. The start of a fantastic new journey. I'm just going to read this one because we've been going for a while. I'm getting a bit chatty. I'm not even drinking caffeine either. This is a decaf coffee. But the sakura. Sakura, or Japanese cherry blossom, are ornamental trees revered for their luminous blush pink flowers. They flower in Japan in late March and early April. Sakura are synonymous with joy, celebrations, relaxation, festivals, and contentment. The blossoms themselves are used in snack dishes, both sweet and savory. I didn't know that. To flavor delicious teas, I've had tea, or as a beautiful floral display. The cherry blossom's ephemeral nature is seen as a metaphor for the short yet powerful time we are here on Earth. Cherry blossoms don't last that long. They blossom and then they're done for about the next year. I was lucky. I had never, believe it or not, I'd never seen a cherry blossom in person until I went to England. And there was one in this beautiful park that when I was just walking around. I think I was in Chelsea. And I was just like, wow. And I was so taken by it. I literally went down into the park area. I went down the stairs and sat on the benches for a little bit and just took it all in. And I didn't realize that they don't blossom that often, that it's, you know, a spring blossom. Otherwise, they're just a regular pretty tree. But there was something, so maybe that's why I love blossom so much. But there was something very, you know, beautiful in the meaning of them. Just like this says, you know, the cherry blossom's ephemeral nature is seen as a metaphor for the short, yet powerful time we are here on earth. Make your life beautiful. Not by anyone else's standards, but your own. You deserve that. You deserve to live your life. And, you know, do it in a way that's not harmful to you. Okay, I know a lot of the messages here might be confusing because, you know, that 1967 card, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but no. You know, don't go down the rabbit hole. Okay, you know, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying that if you have an addictive personality, not the thing to do. And that could include sex, and that could include drugs. Just be careful. Know your limits is basically, I think, what I'm trying to say without getting myself into trouble here. But know your limits. Okay, we all have limits, so know them. The divination for this card. The Japanese custom of hanami is the practice of feasting beneath the cherry blossoms, and one that has been enjoyed for hundreds of years. One must be quick to seize the opportunity because this glorious display only lasts 5 to 7 days. This is the yes card. Its energy is one of new opportunities, taking a leap of faith and enjoying some beginner's luck. The energy of this card is very positive. Blossom is playful and whimsical. It is about approaching possibilities with a light heart and a sense of fun. This unicorn heralds the start of a fantastic new journey, and for this reason is much like the Fool card in the tarot. Have a little faith in the future when Blossom skips into your life. So again, trust your intuition, right? Big happy changes within the next few weeks. The 1967 card, just free yourself. You got to free yourself to be yourself, right? That's what it is. You got to free yourself to be yourself. So, and you know, do whatever makes you happy. Just be careful with it. Like I said, know your limitations, all right? But you are ready for a fantastic new journey. To me, this is a validation card for some of the things that I journaled about last night. But for other people, it's your time. It's your turn. You are allowed to be happy. You are allowed to move forward in love and compassion and empathy and grace. Don't let the world stop you from living. Okay? Don't let society's, you know, restrictions stop you from living. If there's something you want to do and you believe in it, do it. All right? That's what these cards are about. So, you know, everything comes with a grain of salt. And again, this is just my perspective. This is just me sharing how much I held myself back because I was afraid of stepping out of the norm, because I was afraid of pushing back. And in my own ways, when I look back, I did push back. You know, I didn't go through with some of the things in life that I think people expected me to do, or I didn't meet a lot of expectations, and I think that hurt a lot of people. And it wasn't my intention. It just, that's a card I've never seen before. It wasn't my intention, but I had to honor my path. I had to live my path. Whoa, okay. They didn't fly out, but they flipped themselves over. So, all right, I'm going to have to figure out how to say some of these because I do not want to butcher their names. So, let me look them up first. So here's one. Okay, DeWall, cool. And okay, I'm not, this one isn't telling me how to say it, so we're just gonna go with it. Okay, we're just gonna see what happens. So this one, El Moria, I don't know. I'm sorry if I butchered that. The awakening presence. The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. So when they say wear a cloak of protection and love, it doesn't necessarily mean go out there and make yourself a cloak. Unless you want to, because, you know, cloaks can be fun. But it's saying, you know, protect yourself with that love and you know, that protection that comes with that love. So an awakening presence. A lot of people are having an awakening right now. There's a spiritual awakening happening across the globe. And a lot of people are struggling with it. A lot of people are fighting against it. A lot of people are pushing back. So it's making it harder. That age of enlightenment kind of thing. That this whole enlightenment thing. And with spiritual awakening comes a lot of spiritual growth. And a lot of spiritual growing pains. But the universe is with you. Your higher powers are with you. whoever your deity is with you. So, wear a cloak of protection and love. That energy around you. Allow it to, show you and guide you. Show you the way and guide you. El Mariah is a spiritual name that was given to protect the identity of Ranbir Singh, a spiritually aware man born into a powerful family that ruled Kashmir, a region in the Indian subcontinent. In the 19th century, it is said that he interceded both spiritually and physically to stop the British invasion of the region in 1845. This wise soul is now able to help us remove any energy from our life that is not serving our connection to God, or your higher power. He is a wonderful guide to call on if you are unsure if something is real or not. He helps awaken our I am presence. That's in capitals. I am presence, which is our truest connection to our soul and to the universe itself. So I am. And, you could say all different things, but really, just that's one of those, repeat it till you feel it. I am. And it's almost, that's your spiritual awakening. So if you're struggling with that spiritual awakening, this is the guy to go to. Okay? And, it's not to be worshipped. He is like a prophet. He is a spiritual guide, a spirit guide, an angel of sorts, however you want to look at spirit guides or guides. They are here to help you through this transition. It can be difficult. My last spiritual awakening, holy crap, it lasted for almost a month. That was some serious ascension fluing that I was doing, and it was crazy, and it was painful. Like, spiritual growing pains are no joke. But that doesn't mean I want you to be afraid of it. One of the reasons it hurts is because we fight against it, because we push back. So sometimes we just have to go with the flow. We have to learn that flow. So the extended message. Spiritual protection is important at this time. Ensure that you are cleansing your energy before putting on protection. El Mariah, I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. El Mariah is here with a legion of angels to help you understand where you are at. El Mariah is here with a legion of angels to help you understand where you are at now. Fire up your divine connection and detach from dramas, people, places, and emotions that no longer serve you. Remember that within you there is a mighty soul light. Allow the light to shine through your entire being. Then call on El Mariah and his angels to help surround you in a light that will keep you safe on all levels. Also know that facing fears and seeing the truth will strengthen your connection to the universal life force. Instead of running from your fears, sometimes we've got to run at them and show them, you know what, you don't deserve my power. I'm taking my power back. Okay, so the next one, Dawal Kul, Dharma unfolding. Remember that you are on a path. Take one step at a time to happiness. Remember that you are on a path. So you can ask El Mariah to start this journey for you. Dawal Kul here. He's here to help guide you along that journey. El Mariah will help protect you with that cloak of protection and love. He will help guide you. He will see you and have your angels there and say, hey, you know what? I'm stuck. That's where this guy comes in. Think of him as like your personal journey dude, your tour guide through your healing journey. So Dawal Kul, Dharma unfolding. Remember that you are on a path. Take one step at a time to happiness. Dawal Kul, known as the Tibetan, is a Tibetan Buddhist master. He is said to have had many incarnations, including as a devotee of Buddha himself, and is one of the 3 wise men who honored the baby Jesus. That's pretty cool. Through his earthly experiences, he has learned the importance of spiritual practice and discipline, and knows that the path we are on unfolds over time. He is now helping lightworkers follow their Dharma, which is a Sanskrit word meaning right way of living. So one of the things I was talking about when you're having a spiritual awakening and having those spiritual growing pains is that a lot of times we either push back on the journey or we try to rush it. This is the card saying you have to go through every single bit of it. You can't just leap from one end to the other and say, I made it, because it will come back and whap you upside the head. Trust me, that's my perspective because I've lived it. So the extended message. When Dawal Kul appears in a reading, he reminds you that your path is unfolding as it should. Take one step at a time and remember that your only spiritual function is to be happy. You are a powerful person with many lessons under your belt and a real capacity to share your wisdom with the world. Take the time to go over what you have learned recently Oh, sorry. This is how I know. I'm starting to get drained now because we've been going for over an hour. Take the time to go over what you have learned recently. Recognize the strengths it has brought you and acknowledge where you have been courageous. Dewal Cool is now working with your angel guides to help your journey unfold like a beautiful lotus flower, one petal at a time. And remember, the lotus flower, it grows in the darkness. You know, it starts to manifest in the darkness, and when it's ready, it pushes up above the mud. And it unfurls into this beautiful flower. So remember, a lot of time, the lotus will be used a lot on spiritual journeys because you're starting, it's quite possible you're starting in this mucky, dark, heavy, dense place. But as you begin to heal, as you begin to grow spiritually, you will find, that kind of looks like the alien thing, right? That's not my intention. It's supposed to be a lotus. All right, the lotus flower. But you'll unfurl and you'll see like, wow, look how beautiful my light is. And this light has always been there. It's basically like you going through a car wash and washing all the muck and stuff off of you so that you can shine brightly, that you can shine in a way you never thought you could. Everyone has that capability. So allow that for yourself. And Paul the Venetian, experiencing grace. Share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you. I need this card today. So experience grace. Share your gifts with grace. So one of the things I like to tell people when you have a gift, some people will sit there and say, well, if it's your gift, why are you charging for it? Well, people do have to make money. Just like a doctor charges for his services, people will charge. But what concerns me are the people that take advantage, that might have a gift or may not have a gift. Maybe they're just really good con artists. So when it comes to psychics, when it comes to mediums, I do believe in them. But use your intuition. Use your spidey instincts. If people start to keep telling you stuff, well, you'll need to come back, or you'll need to give me this, or you'll need to give me that, or, I want the hair of your firstborn child. When they start asking for that kind of crap, you need to walk away. Some people will pick on the weaker people who are constantly looking for validation, who are constantly looking for the right answer. Only you can truly discern the right answer. When you go in for a reading somewhere, whether it's a tarot reading, an oracle reading, they're there to guide you. They're there to show you, unless you have specific questions. And the good ones won't sit there and say, well, what happened in your past, so that they can come up with a story and say, oh, and you go, oh yeah. I've been very fortunate. I have been to, tarot readers and mediums who were spot on, and I didn't say a word. I asked for guidance. That was it. And I got it. And I've been very fortunate in that way. So use your spidey instincts. Okay. That being said, a lot of us do have these gifts. I'm just reading off of cards and I'm reading this, but there have been times when I've blown people away with the things I know that they don't realize I know. Only because someone's telling it to me. Someone's yammering in my ear. I was able to connect older sibling with her grandmother again. And they were kind of, to be honest with you, I think it was schooling time, because sibling was helping me understand my gifts, and her grandma was helping me by saying, hey, listen to me, trust this, repeat it to Laura and see what happens. And Laura would be like, whoa, that's totally my grandma. And it's so, those are nice things that we have, that we're fortunate to have. But, don't abuse your gifts. I have known people who have abused their gifts, and it doesn't end well for you, especially on the other side. So be kind. Okay. Use them with grace. Use them with, the full intention of doing a service for someone. Like I said earlier, like with the Ho'oponopono thing, I have had some people come to me. I had a girl that had been my client for a couple of sessions beforehand, and she came to me and she says, I need help with this. And I told her, I said, so she said, should I purchase this? And it's like, no. This is the time for you to learn how to do this yourself, to trust yourself, to see how, to really just kind of move into your own gifts. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but that's what we're here for. We're here to be spiritual teachers as well. To show people, to give people the encouragement that we received so that we could move into our own light. And a lot of times that's our purpose. Sure, we might get paid for it in the beginning, but after a while, you have to teach people, how to not be so dependent on you, but to learn how to trust their own gifts. Okay, so Paul the Venetian is said to be a ascended form of Paolo Veronese, a famous artist of the Italian Renaissance. The Venetian refers to the fact that he was connected to Venice, Italy. It is believed that on his passing in 1588, he had the opportunity to help humanity by sharing his lifelong wisdom. He is the keeper of the light who helps us accept our talents and hone our skills so that we can share the beauty of our soul with the world. He brings waves of good energy, grace, and encouragement, and works with all artists, musicians, designers, and anyone else who needs support in channeling their talents. Ooh! So if you're in the entertainment field, this is the dude you want guiding you. So, whatever creative ideas you are having at this time, they are inspired by the divine. Paul the Venetian is here to help you channel your gifts. You may have felt blocked or held back in the past, but now it's time to recognize how talented you really are. Follow your bliss and share your grace. Follow your bliss and share your grace. Your creativity is a gift to the world, and as you share it with all those around you, you make space in your heart for goodness to enter. Recognize your gifts today and express your creative self in a way that suits you. If you're having trouble being creative, Paul the Venetian. I may be calling on him later because I found a new format for a story I've been working on for about 20 years. Yes, that's right. You heard me. 20 years. It's one that's always kind of sat in the back of my head. And I've been struggling with it. So I think Paul the Venetian's going to help out a lot. So anyways, excuse the loudness over here. Take these meetings and, go in love with them. Go in a kind of peace that maybe you haven't been able to really give yourself, to show yourself. We have gifts, and sometimes they are stifled because people fear them. People look at them in the wrong way. People misunderstand them, or people just have a one-track mind on what kind of thing they can or can't do. Whatever your gift is, honor it. It may not be something that you want to turn to as a form of making money, but it could be something like a party trick, right? With your friends. Maybe someone comes to you and they need your empathy, your compassion, or maybe you can sense a friend isn't doing well. You don't have to sit there and force them into feeling something, but you can sit there and say, hey, when you're ready to talk, I'm here for you. And they may wonder, hey, how do you have this uncanny knack of always knowing? A lot of empaths have that. A lot of people don't believe that empaths are real. I know for a fact because I am one. A lot of times I can really feel when someone's not doing well. They may have a smile on their face, and maybe this is where my dinged up mental health comes in handy. Because suffering from depression, I know the fake it till you make it smile. And there will be times when you'll think you got it wrong. Because maybe they don't want to talk about it, so they'll just continue to smile at you. And maybe you can see it in their eyes, or maybe you can just feel it. Because sometimes when someone's in a lot of pain, you can feel that energy just oozing off of them like a volcano. But you can't push people out of their comfort zone. So sometimes it's the best way. If you need me, I'm here. If you need an ear, text me, call me. Let's go out for coffee. We'll talk about it. I just want you to know that I'm your friend and I'm here, or I'm your family member or whatever, and I'm here for you. And they'll remember that. And every so often you might want to just repeat it. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? Or check up on them. Hey, how's it going today? Just want to say hi. Don't push people out of their comfort zones, because sometimes when you're trying to do that, you push them into their comfort. They push them farther back into their comfort zone. So just ease people out. Okay? Sometimes people are like feral animals. You just gotta coax them out. Give them that trust that they need, that maybe they don't have in other people. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see everybody back here for Monday mindfulness or Monday musings, whatever it ends up being. Monday. But 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch under Shelley Marie Lucas. I also share these videos to YouTube and to my Facebook page, both under the Aloha Perspective. And I also share the links from YouTube to Twitter. So if you follow me on there, you're good to go. Again, I hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful day. I know this oracle reading was a little bit different. It kind of took a lot of different turns that I wasn't expecting. But I think there were a lot of good messages in there for a lot of different people. So sometimes we just need to stop and take a look within ourselves. I think the biggest message in all of this is if you're going through your spiritual awakening, it's scary. It might spiritually hurt a little bit because you're being challenged to move in a mental direction, a thought process direction that maybe you're not used to being in, or maybe society has told you that's bad. But a spiritual awakening is so we can put our light into this world. That's how we make it a better place. When we stop listening to what other people tell us and we start living our own truth, letting our own light and love shine. So don't be afraid to do that. I was afraid for a long time. Like I said, I believe I'm exactly where I'm meant to be right now, to show people the way, to help people understand that, hey, it's okay. Sometimes we are afraid. But I also want to get to the people before they get to be my age, and because there is a beautiful light that I think this world missed out on over the last X amount of years, because I did fight against it, because I did push back, because I was scared. Fear is a 4-letter word. To me, fear is the true F word. It does nothing for anybody. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't, scream, hey, healing. No, fear is just the biggest 4-letter word, and it's a nasty one. So take your power back, honor who you are, and free yourself to be yourself. Okay? Have a great day.